11 a.m. to 7 p.m., the Deep South Para-Comic-Con will bring chills, thrills and much more. Special appearances by the paranormal rocker Keith Age, Blaine Rohan psychic medium, Dr. Lee Triana Brown, Professor Matthew Brown, Lilia Bogoiva, Michael and Destiny Fox from Fox Paranormal, creator of American Demon comic Austin Light, producer Gwen Johns, Ben Bracken with built-in Ghostbusters, Ken Gerhard from Monster Quest and Ancient Aliens, WCW Wrestling NWO Wrestling American Giant Buck Bresner, CCW Wrestling The Masked Assassin Russ Conway, James Stokes from Stranger Things, Voorhees Night of the Beast and many more, Ethereal Voice Paranormal Richard and Colleen Johnson, Jessica Lentz cosplay artist. Come see Litriana Brown's Haunted Object Lab. What do you feel from these objects?
Hey, hey, hey. Welcome to Bridging the Seen and Unseen. My name is Shane McLain. I am your host. I am so glad to be here. Gwen, are you available? Hello? Well, we're going to start. Hey, there you are. There you are. How are you?
I'm good. My internet is lagging a bit, so.
Oh, I got you. Well, you're coming off the cuffs of a Paracon, you know. So I mean, I'm sure that was pretty fun to go to.
Oh yeah, Connecticut one weekend, and then we had the Paranormal Rock down here in Wisconsin just a couple days ago. So yeah,
well,
2 of them.
Is that a big like travel difference there? Like how long was that traveling for both?
Let's see, it was probably about 16 hours, probably about 18 actually to get from South Carolina to Connecticut, but we did stop overnight. Then from Connecticut to Wisconsin, we took a couple of days and camped on the way.
Oh, okay.
It still took a long time though, but it was good.
Yeah. It's always driving. I did an overnight. I drove from Colorado to South Carolina, and I ended up driving 24 hours straight from Colorado to South Carolina, and that was not fun.
Oh, it's a big deal. So we have a great guest on tonight.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to this. I had a chance to speak with her, and I really look forward to asking her some questions. We have the fabulous Raven Wolfe, so if we can bring her on.
Hello.
Hey. How are you?
I'm doing really well. It's wonderful to see you both.
Yep, we're so glad to have you here. Well, when we start out the show, you know, I usually give a chance for you to really just kind of tell people who you are and what you're about and what you got going.
Sure. So I'm located out of Salem, Massachusetts. I am a medium. I do my readings and my mediumship and my tea leaf stuff at Zodiac Tea Room and Pentagram out here. I also have my own private thing where like I work with different paranormal teams throughout the US and go on fun adventures. I help families in different areas. I also teach classes for a school called University Magicus as a metaphysical teacher, and there's a new book coming. I'm starting my first book. The cover's already done. I just got to finish up some of the chapters and have a few friends look it over, and then it'll be ready to be published.
Congratulations.
That's
Thank you.
amazing. That's amazing. So this is your first book?
Yes, it's my first book ever. It took me a really long time to feel like I was prepared to actually write one, but I just got this like little like nudge from spirit saying it's time. And part of it is because if you guys know Kenneth Drake, Kenneth
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Drake
yes.
published his book and I read the entire thing and it inspired me and it was like, okay, it's finally time for me to write something. So yeah.
And so is it going to be more of your life experiences or some of the things that you do now?
It's going to be my life experiences leading up to now. And then I'm looking at also creating a fictional series alongside it. But the first book is going to be my story.
That's amazing. I think if more authors were to do that and just kind of give like an insight to who you are, and I think that would just broaden, your spectrum of having people read more into your books if they know more about you.
Yeah, yeah, I think so too. It definitely opens things up for like more understanding of where these characters come from as
Right.
well.
Right. So you're a medium. You're a medium. When did you find out that you had that set of skills behind you?
When I was a child, there was a really unfortunate situation. There was a young lady who unfortunately she was stabbed to death, and I started seeing her after she passed away. And it was kind of scary to me because I had grown up in a family where mediumship or anything to do with the metaphysical wasn't necessarily like welcomed. So it was a big deal. But it has been an incredible experience because even though I am 41 now, she has been a guide that comes and goes, and we work together. She wasn't a friend of mine when we were in school. She was actually kind of a bully. But
Mm,
right at the very end of her life, right before she passed, she showed me a single act of kindness that made me think sometimes in life, we don't know what's going on in other individuals' lives or in their homes or in their situations.
True.
And I forgave her in that moment. And it was about a week later. I had come to school and I was in one of the gym type areas getting ready. And another girl who was also known as a school bully was joking around about it. And I was furious because she was joking about it.
mm,
But it could have been her way at that time with, it could have been her way to handle it, not knowing how to
open.
handle
Yeah.
it because we were young. But uh, that night when I went home, I started seeing this girl who I now call my friend, even though she wasn't a friend in life, coming and appearing in front of me. And it was really emotionally intense for me because when you grow up in a system, a family where these kinds of things aren't accepted, they thought, oh, she has a wild imagination. She has all these different things. She's just trying to get attention. Like it was, but she never went away. And then I started seeing the dead, other dead as I was growing up. And so it never really stopped. So I thought, it's time to actually help people and do something with this
Mm.
so that I can do something positive and there's something I can actually do with it. So yeah.
Did that scare you? Did that scare you, having those feelings and seeing them? Because obviously, not everybody will see what you are able to see. I mean, did it make you feel like you were out of place, or like how did it make you feel when you really found out that you could do that?
It frightened me. The way that they originally started presenting themselves were in very traumatic
Mm,
ways.
mm,
Um, I would not see them in a way that I see another person that is living. I would see them in ways in how they presented themselves when they passed. Or if they weren't verbal, it would be emotions. It would be really intense, hard dreams, and that I would see people in that I didn't recognize or know. But it, now as an adult, I know, okay, I'm seeing somebody else's story and there's significance to either somebody I'm going to read for or someone I'm going to connect with, and it's going to be helpful to that individual to be able to help them with their healing process, because I like to assist on it. I don't heal people. I assist them through their process of
I hear
healing.
you. Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
I had a good friend of mine on 2 or 3 weeks ago, Catherine Cirillos. Are you familiar with her?
The name sounds oddly familiar, but I
She,
don't think
she's a
I've met her.
she's a world renowned psychic. She lives in Greece. And I mean she it sounds, and I've asked several psychics, and it seems like, you know, that it's around the same. You find out when you're a kid, you really don't know what to do with it. What did your parents think of it when you were mentioning it to your parents?
My parents have always thought that it was a way of me trying to get attention.
Oh.
We came from a very religious construct where, in some religious constructs, people are very open to, those gifts, but my family is the exact opposite. So
Mhm.
it was a struggle growing up for sure. I didn't
See,
have the guidance that some people have along the way.
right. And I am one of those religious. I am the associate pastor for Knights Templar Unity Church. I am a Knights Templar. I'm an overseer for the Order of the Archangels, and this idea for this podcast was to bridge the gap between paranormal and clergy.
See, I love that.
Um,
I love that
and
you guys
and
are
and
open to
and
that.
I really wanted to do this to give people a platform because I was a full-time pastor for 3 years, and I mean full time going to Bible college. I mean everything, and I stepped away to pursue spiritual warfare ministries, and that's what we concentrate on. So we also help people. I am in the paranormal as a clergy. I'm not a paranormal clergy. I am in as a clergy, and I try to help educate teams on grounding, clearing, cleansings, proper protections, things of that nature, on a theological basis. But I also help clients. I do my main investigations that I do are residential. So I do my own investigating. I have a paranormal team. I have Outer Realms Paranormal. You can check that on the page. Um, I have Outer Realms Paranormal. My wife and I will actually go and we do the investigate. We don't have to call another paranormal team in to do it. We actually do the investigations. We identify, and then we do a very proper clearing and cleansing of the area, people, and families. So I get that, and that the whole judgmental part is a big reason why I am different than that. My everybody that I'm affiliated with in our church and things like that, we are all willing and wanting to help people as much as possible. And if I can bridge that gap, if I can bridge, and tell people, because I can't name the number of times I've been into a church, and if somebody has a paranormal experience or something like that, the first thing that comes out of their mouth, oh, you have a demonic presence about you.
Mm-mm.
And I always wanted to know why they would say that. So I specialize in spiritual warfare, demonology, and exorcism ministries. So I wanted to make sure that if people were going to call it demonic, then they understand truly what having a demonic presence really is like. And having a coffee cup fly across the room, that's not demonic, or cabinets opening, or a poltergeist spirit, or even an intelligent mimicking spirit. Those aren't demonic spirits.
Correct.
And I'm trying to get people to understand that, and I just wish more churches were open to understanding that they do have paranormal experiences. I had mine when I was 10 years old, and I will never not know that the paranormal exists. So I will always try to be in this field, helping as many people as possible in being the change that I want to see in this field.
Well, I do have a genuine respect for people who are willing to open up the doors to not close off and shut out the different situations that people are dealing with, and are willing to work on bridging that gap, because I think even in with where I'm at, like growth wise, I really want to bridge gaps in different directions. I want to work with different kinds of teams. I want to be able to reach as many people as possible
Yeah, me
through the
too.
gifts that I have, to be able to be of support. Now, somebody may not have the same religious construct as I do, but as long as we can respect each other and help each other in ways where it doesn't go beyond our own limitations,
Right.
then it's cool. You know, it's good for me. Um, I have had teams that have had very serious religious constructs that I just couldn't work with, and I gave them recommendations to other people within those specific religious traditions that can help them. I really do believe that the paranormal can be about community. It's all about the individuals as to whether or not they are going to choose to be a part of that community, so to
Right.
speak.
Right. Right.
But I really, really strongly believe that community is important within this, and people from different traditions, if we can work together, because when we go to different paranormal locations, sometimes we're going to be dealing with things that come from different traditions, and being able to um have people that are in those specific traditions come in and help to whatever degree they can, I think that's valuable.
It is. It is. And that's why I have so many different people on, because I'm trying to get a broad understanding, of, my thing is, if it works for you, then it works for you.
Mhm.
I don't see the benefit of trying to say, oh, well, call me if that doesn't work for you. I want to be here to help people and to learn and to grow from people, and that's a big difference between me and everybody else. I mean, I've studied theology. I've studied like biblical theology for almost 30 years now. I'll be 48 this coming Sunday. um, and and I still continue to learn and study. And one thing is that I know that if I want to be able to reach people, then I have to reach people right where they are. I can't come to them aggressively and tell them everything they're doing wrong, because let me put this: people could care less how much you know until they
Mhm.
know how much you care.
Absolutely. That's 100% one of the foundations, I think, of going into any situation where you're dealing with the paranormal, with people that are on the living side that you're trying to help. There has to be an open communication and a little bit of a bond of rapport there, so that you can actually help a person.
Right, right, right. And that's another. I'm a dialysis patient. I have end stage renal failure, so I was born with one kidney. I'm a cancer survivor, and to just get trust off people. I got a call a couple months ago, and it was the head lady who's over my dialysis center. They had a gentleman there that actually committed suicide in there.
Mm.
And they started having, like, where they were getting touched, they were seeing shadow figures. I mean, it was really scaring them, so they called me and they said, Shane, that we know what you do, but we really would appreciate if you were to come in and just kind of look at everything. And so my wife and I went and we investigated. We found out exactly who it was. We found out what was going on, to find out that the boy not only committed suicide, but his sister committed suicide, his mom committed suicide, and his father committed suicide. So there was a lot of generational residual, like unwrestling there. And we had to get it to where he could be free. from that. And it took us about 4.5 hours to do a proper clearing and cleansing of that place, but they haven't had any issues since. So I was very blessed to be able to actually go in a dialysis center of all places and be able to investigate and really help people get their sanity back, because they had people that put in their 2 week notices and stuff like that because they were getting affected so bad.
Well, that's exactly what this community is about. It's about going into, or at least that's what I think that the community should be about, is
Should be.
going into places where we can really help people and we can really help those situations. And I yeah, that's what it should be about.
Yeah, you're definitely right, and I'm glad that you're on the same page with that too, because I love people and I love being able to help people, and I love being a part of the paranormal community, even though a lot of it is kind of what like I call a dog eat dog world. I mean, like with the backstabbing and stuff like that that's going on. My main motto for my paranormal team is be the change that you want to see. So I
Hmm.
tell everybody that's on our team, everybody that's in our order and stuff like that, they say, try to avoid, drama. And one thing that I have embedded in my head and those around me is that you also have to remember that perception is reality. The way that you perceive things is your reality. Doesn't mean that it's somebody else's reality.
That's correct. I mean, I agree is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Yep.
Everybody is going to have their different experiences and situations that define their experiences in reality, for sure.
Right. Right. And it makes it difficult. It makes it difficult because I know teams that want to put their evidence that they find out, and just remember that perception is reality, but they go to bring it and they get more backlash from it than anything. What happened to being able to have fun in the paranormal? What happened to having a love in the paranormal? Why is it got to be that, oh, I'm better than you, or I've got more followers than you, or I'm bigger in this field than you are. I mean, none of that really matters. When we first get into the paranormal, we get in because we've had experiences, and we want to share those experiences. And when you put yourself on a level that's really above everybody else, how do you expect anybody to really want to be around you?
I would agree with that. I mean, I this is the reason that I made the decision that I would work with all paranormal teams for the most part. There are a couple that I won't, but it's defined by whether they encompass that, like showing support in the community and trying to help or not. Um, that is what made me make the decision to work with all teams instead of being with one specific group. If I was ever to find a group, which I'm starting to think I might have, we'll see. um, but I told myself if I ever found a group that encompasses love, that encompasses those things of like working together as a community, then I would consider being on a specific team.
I got
Um,
you.
but there has, for many, 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 many years, unfortunately, been situations of ego and situations of I am better than somebody else
Right.
type of vibrations. And that's not what I stand for either.
Right, right. And see, that's good. And the majority of people that I've talked to, have that same mentality. They want difference too. But, they just don't know how to get it there, because a lot of people, I mean, let's just be honest, there are some really good, well-known people leaving the paranormal field because of all the things that are going on. And that's sad. That's sad to see, and it's sad to say, because this is something that we should all love doing. And if you take it so seriously that you put yourself above other people, you're no better than anybody else that's doing that to people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sad. It is. It's sad, but it is a reality. Um, with you being a psychic like this, you work residential cases and things like that. Can you tell me about like some of your experiences in residential cases, and how do you, being a psychic medium, how are you able to help in residential cases like that?
So I'll talk about one of my toughest. I've had a
Okay.
couple of tough cases. And I'm going to talk about my experience as a medium and what I went ahead and did to help these families. So there are two separate situations. The first one I'm going to talk about is a specific case in Arizona where I was reached out to due to the fact that a mother was struggling with their daughter. She felt like her daughter was dealing with possession. She felt
Mm,
like there was something in her apartment that was really causing the issues. And so I went through a questionnaire and I did bring myself, I brought my one of my good friends, I brought two other people within the paranormal field to go in there and see what we could do and find out. The two people that were with us didn't really have anything that they picked up when they were there. So they ended up departing, but they did, help out quite a bit. I want to give them that credit. Um, when they left, and it could have been the time of day, but we went into the daughter's bedroom, and all of a sudden, from the lighting, there was a light that was up above. There was a little bit of a kind of like chandelier type vibe. There was there was something there that was not a ghost,
mm,
wasn't human. And this was my first time in all of the years that I had investigated that I felt like I was walking into something that was out of my spectrum.
mm,
So, um I met with the mother and the two daughters, but the daughter specifically that was affected, they asked to meet at a Starbucks. And so I met with them, and the daughter, she wasn't very verbal. She would just keep her face straight ahead, and she wouldn't respond to anybody. She would just not speak. But we started to ask some more deeper questions. We found out that there was trauma that had been incurred from some people in the family. And we had found that some of the energy, because there was a notebook that was actually almost like it felt like it was placed on the bed for us to see. We're still
mm.
debating that. We still debate that. But the notebook had some things that were pretty volatile towards her sister. Um, and so it was like one of those things where we knew that mental health was part of the issue,
It's
and we
huge.
knew we I knew that I was going to have to try and get her help for that. um but then also there was something that had manifested that was not a regular ghost, that was not anything I had ever seen before that was in that place. um as we're sitting there, I turned to her and I told her, I'm going to do the best I can to help you. Then I went and looked at the mother, and this girl's, she had been looking straight forward the entire time. And this at the Starbucks we were at, there are mirrors that you can see reflections of. And so I'm
Mm.
talking to her mother about getting her some formal help. And all of a sudden, I saw her head snap and stare at me in the most,
Evil look,
yeah, she was
like a
smiling at
hatred, like a hatred almost.
Yeah, yeah. And I had to stay calm in this situation. And I did because I realized number one, part of it's mental health. Number two, what's messing with her is trying to mess with me, and I'm not going to stand for it. And I'm going to get her the help that she needs to the best of my capacity. So I reached out to a few people in the community who helped me to get in contact with Kenneth Torres. And I had, I had tried to get the mother to talk with him. She had several other mediums, several other practitioners trying to do all kinds of work on her daughter. She even had different priests that were coming in. It was chaos. It was genuine chaos. And um I know that they did their best to offer, the help that they could offer within community, in the fact of like trying to give counseling and all this other, all the other options. But what ended up happening is they ended up moving away. And then I moved to Salem, and I got a phone call from her again saying that things had kicked up, but that her daughter had started on medication, and that there were some aspects that were better, but there were still some extremes going on. So I asked her, I was like, did you reach out to Kenneth? Did you reach out to the people I asked you to reach out to? And she's like, yeah, but we have all these other people helping. And so the case itself, at least with the mental health aspects, I feel like there was progression that was happening in a positive direction for this young lady. As far as what was attached to her, the reason I reached out to other people is because that is not my forte. My forte is acknowledging the dead, helping the dead, communicating with them, and seeing if there is something that needs to be communicated to the living, or if there is activity in a location, verify if it's a ghost or if it's like something completely different, and then find the right people to connect them to give them the help that they need.
Right.
The other thing with this situation is um, when I was a child, there was the way that this being looked at me when it snapped its head was exactly the way that it looked at me when it was a child. So it gave me some of those flashbacks of those memories of childhood when this other individual looked at me in that way, because I've dealt with this stuff pretty much most of my life. Where I see things that are not positive when they're there. But I also see the good things, which is great. But I do see the harder, traumatic things that people go through, because that's just what spirit in the universe has gifted me with seeing. So it helps me to be present for an individual and help them to the best of my capacity, and then find other options if I'm not the right person for them.
Mm.
So Um, that was one situation. And then the second situation was in Utah. I lived in Utah for many years. And there was a woman who was struggling with feeling like something was haunting her house. Well, I went into the house, and I didn't really feel anything. Like, I didn't see anything either. And so what I figured out is that there were things that were manifesting within the house that she was creating. So it had to do a lot with uh, her own experiences that she had had. And so we were able to get her support counseling within the traditions that she follows to help her process through that. And none of the stuff happened anymore that was manifesting, like doors were slamming, pictures were flying off the walls. It got intense. I've also worked with military families. So a lot of different things happened on Camp Pendleton. So my
Mm.
growing experience started out in residential,
Mm.
helping people, and then growing into bigger formats.
Wow. So see, that's interesting because like um ever since I was a child, I have I have premonitions and visions, and I didn't ask for them, but I get them. And I've gotten them since I was a child, and they're never good. They're never good. It's it saved my mom from a very horrific car accident. My wife, with her father. I mean, and it comes out of the blue. It's almost like my ears start ringing, and I go into a dream like trance for I don't know a few minutes. But I always see this vision that comes in that I have to tell people, and I wish they were better, but everyone that I've ever had, it's gone to the fact of me being able to tell people, something that's going to happen to them.
That's
And
amazing.
I really, I don't know how to control it. It just comes out of nowhere. I don't know how to control. I don't even know what you call it.
I
I
think
had one in my, go ahead.
I think we all have gifts that like develop at different times, and it sounds like this is one of your gifts to be able to help people before things really hit the fan.
Mhm. It happened like one of the first ones that I had was I was in a car with my mother, and we were in the left hand lane, and we were at the stoplight, and there was a car sitting next to us. And I remember the kid in the back seat was turning and waving at me like this, and all of a sudden my ears started ringing, and it's almost like I blanked out. And when I came back to, um I told my mom, I said, Mom, I said, listen, I said, whatever you do, do not hit this gas. Do not stay right here, whatever you do. And she's like, What are you talking about? What are you talking about? And I said, Please, Mom, just listen to me. Whatever you do not hit this gas. And the light turned green, and the person next to me went. And right as that, a six wheel, like this dually truck, ran the red light to make that left right there and plowed the car that was next to him and pinned him and killed the guy in the truck died. The mom and the kid that were in there, they got pinned against a concrete pole, and
Oh,
it crushed
wow.
them to death. And that would have been my mother and I right there. And
Wow.
she looked at me like it was unbelievable, but I mean, right after it all happened, I felt so bad for the people, but then I'm looking at my mom and I'm like, you do realize that that could have been us right there.
Right.
So I mean, I don't know where they came from. It seems like I got them more after my grandmother passed away. I'm Irish. My grandparents came here from Ireland, both mom and dad's side, and and I know my grandmother, when my father would get in trouble, like she knew it. She knew it. Um, like when like there's three sisters, my mom and her two sisters. When my grandfather passed away, all the sisters woke up at the same time and called each other, and they all knew that my grandfather had passed away. I think
That's
it's
amazing.
amazing. I think it's amazing with gifts like that. And like I said, I don't know what you call what I have. I don't know. It even happened in my dialysis center. I had a vision of tubes with blood in them like this, and right before that happened, the nurse knocked over the blood bin, and the blood went underneath the chair of the guy that was sitting next to me, and he was a deaf guy. And as soon as I saw the blood go underneath the chair, I had that vision, and I thought it was more towards the nurse. So I told her, I said, "Listen, I don't know what's about to happen." I said, "But you need to be extremely careful, And I explained what I saw. The next day, I came in and find out that the deaf guy that was sitting next to me, he went to sleep that night and he died in his sleep, and they found blood in his lungs. So the tube that I was seeing was actually a representation of his lungs with the blood overflowing and actually drowning him in his sleep.
Yeah, that would definitely be something we would consider, at least in my community, we would consider that to be premonitions. So
Yeah.
that would be like psychic foresight. Yeah.
It's wild because I've never had anything good, nothing like, oh, you're gonna win the lottery or anything. It's always something that can, like, it's very detrimental to people. And and I hate to be, the bearer of bad news, but it does happen. And I haven't got one in a long time. Ever since the dialysis center, I haven't got one in a long time. But I do think that I have, like, tried to help people with that, even though it's not the best news in the world, but I have tried to help people with it.
I think that as people that work and give messages, we're going to deal with both sides of the spectrum, but I do find that the heavier sides, the traumatic sides of the spectrum are what come through to us so that we can actually be present for people to help them through that process. So I feel that your visions, those things that you're being given, even though it's a really hard situation to have those kinds of things, at the same time, it's giving you a gift to be able to help others, and that's amazing.
I appreciate that. I do. I can't say that I enjoy having them, but I do like the fact of being able to help people. Like I said, I've never known what to call it. I don't know what it is. There's, in ministry we call, people with, like, psychic abilities. We call that, like, discernment, where you're able to discern certain things, and that's what I feel like I've been able to do is I think somehow I tap in, to something. It's almost like some Final Destination stuff, like I'll get a vision like that, and then, like, if it if I don't tell the person, then it's going to be really bad on them.
Hmm.
So, but like I said, I started getting them when my grandmother, and I mean, I guess I wouldn't take them back, from doing that, because I do like helping people. I just don't like how they just come out of nowhere. I mean,
It's
nowhere,
tough.
just. Hmm.
It's tough, especially when you don't have those people coming directly to you to ask about it. It can be really like tricky in making sure that you approach it with the sensitivity that's necessary and hoping that the person is open to hearing the
Yeah,
messages that need to be given,
yeah.
especially if it's an emergency situation.
Now, have you being a psychic like that? Yeah, have you ever, like I've seen, like, Catherine Cirillos or whatever. She's worked cold cases
Mhm.
and things like that. I mean, have you had a chance to do anything like that before?
Yes, I do work with certain teams throughout the US, but one specific team has called me a few times about a missing person case. And then I've had other teams that have reached out for verification saying, hey, we're dealing with this cold case. Can you please see what you psychically see or see as a medium? Can you communicate what it is that you receive? And I will give them the information, and it either helps or gives them a chance to look at some other possible things that they haven't maybe looked at before. I never call back and ask for the results unless they want to share that with
They
me.
want to tell you, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because um, I just want to be able to help people. I have been feeling a very strong push lately to start working with missing persons. Um, I'm not quite ready for that.
Mm.
That's like a spiritual development. Like I do work with them, but I don't work with them on a regular basis outside of, what I normally do, but I am feeling a pull to start working with them more on a regular basis, but more specifically in cases of missing children. And
Mm,
so, being a mother myself, because I have children, I have to assess, I have to kind of work with spirit and see how that ends up developing and what boundaries I need to set, because I want to make sure my children are protected, because
absolutely.
sometimes within these cases it's not always a safe environment. um that's why I'm usually pretty good with, like, I'm good with those who have already crossed over, because I've been doing that for a long time. But when we're talking about active missing person cases, or we're talking about very recent situations that are unsolved, um I'm working with spirit on that one. We'll see. I've got a few mentors that I'm sure will help me with figuring some of that stuff out. But yeah.
So when you say you're doing a missing person or whatever, so the family would just come to you or whatever, and would they bring like a piece of clothing or
So there are a couple of different ways that this has occurred. So I've had people come in for reading sessions, not at the locations I'm at now, but at when I was doing it completely independently, to where, yes, they'd bring an item, and we call that, in my tradition, we call it psychometry. So
psychometry? Yeah,
I would I would hold the item, and I'd get whatever visions I would get, and they would write it down. And I'm very authentic in giving, like, this is what I'm getting. Take it to the authorities and see if that helps with anything. Um, but I never say this is the only way it is, because as a psychic medium, we don't always get, like, the full, like, 100%, this is everything. But
little
sometimes we
pieces.
do. Well, sometimes we do, but it's like the little pieces that matter that can help a situation. Um, so I've had physical items, but I've also had phone calls from different teams that'll be like, there is this missing person. Can you just tune in and see what you get? And what I'll tell them is, give me 24 to 48 hours, or give me a couple of days, and I'll see what the universe gives me. And I'll go to sleep, and I'll have a dream. And the dream will show me different pieces of what's needed for that individual. Or as I'm meditating, I'll get specific components that will help that individual. So sometimes it's physical, but sometimes it's a phone call.
Mm. So do you find yourself do you can you do that right where you are, or do you have to be in the actual area? You know,
I don't have to be in the area to look at things. Um, I am okay with going to those areas as long as I am in a safe so sorry. Um, as long as I'm in a safe um with a safe group of people that I trust and know. Um, but I do not physically have to be in those locations. No.
mm, mm. I
Absolutely.
just think I think it's so neat, that people have these abilities, and things like that. And I was reading a little bit of your bio there, and it says that you are also a pet psychic also.
Yes, I am. I
Can you
love
explain that to me a little bit?
pets. So pets, when I have people that come in, they'll bring in their pets, and sometimes their pets have a lot to say. And it's a psychic, for me, it's a psychic connection, to where I look at them and they give me images or downloads, or I hear a voice that emanates from that specific pet, and they will tell me what their needs are. Sometimes it's like, I want more treats, or I need more attention, or sometimes it has to do with the human, excuse me, human owner, it's owner themselves. uh they'll tell me different things about that specific human, or they'll talk about, if they chose to be a spirit guide, or a guardian angel for that specific human. Like, they'll tell me a whole slew of different things. It just kind of depends on the pet.
My wife and I, we had a very special dog that we had for almost 9 years. Um, and whenever we would let him outside, we could just open the door, he'd go out there, and then you come back in 5 minutes, he'll be waiting at the door or whatever. And well, this particular day, he didn't come back, and we walked around the neighborhood. We were looking for him, and my son and I went right back to this little trail that we have behind the house, and we found him laying on the ground, and and he had been taloned by an owl,
Hmm.
and and we passed, and I think it was really really hard on my wife. Um, that dog was it was more than a dog; he was family. And his name was Mamar,
Oh.
and he was a black and tan Chihuahua, and he was the best dog I think anyone could ever have. The personality behind it, and a lot of times, you know, we would love to know, like, if he was here, if he was watching, because I have the same thing with I had an emotional animal, an emotional support animal, and it was a cat. His name was Murky, and he was white and orange. And a couple years ago, he passed away too. And I would love to know that they are, still around, and they're watching after us. They always know that we love them very much.
May I? Would it be okay to give you a couple messages?
Please, please, please.
Okay. So they both watch you and take care of you both in very different ways. So for your kitty, it's interesting because I see that your cat watches the house when it comes to spirits that want to come through the house that are not like in your ancestral heritage or within your circle of people that are there to help with development and love and growth and those different things. So your cat keeps all of those energies out of the house that shouldn't be there because
Mm,
I can see her like surveying the living room. It feels like she's high up on like some kind of cat perch almost, but it's like
yeah,
a shelf that she's showing me. And it may not be a physical shelf, but it is something where she is like manifesting and watching. um I get that your dog, first off, there is a ton of love that is coming from both of them, but I also get that your dog still plays tricks on you guys in the house. I'm getting that your dog sometimes will move things a little bit. Sometimes there'll be a little screen noises that you can hear back and forth in the quiet of the night, and that is your dog. um I am getting there's something about laying at the foot of the bed as well. But then I also see this dog trying to snuggle right in the center of the both of you.
yep, yep,
There's something
yep.
about the laying of the head. Um, dog is laying, your puppy is, I call it your puppy because it will always be your baby, um, is like checking on both of you while you're sleeping. It's almost like a stepping into your dreams and peeking in to make sure that everything's okay. So, and with your cat, I want to go back to your cat for a minute. There's something about a bell that she's following around, like a tinkering bell, like it makes like a little like ding 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 noise, and
Yeah,
she's like,
he had a belt. He had a belt on his collar.
okay. Interesting, because I hear the little bell going off, and it's almost like he automatically follows it. Do you still have that bell on that
Yes, I
collar?
do.
That
Yes, I
would
do.
be why. Okay. So, their messages, well, let me do them individually. They both love you. they both love you and your wife tremendously, and they want you to know that they're doing okay and that they are choosing to still be near you. It's funny because I actually see your dog right behind you,
Oh wow.
putting the head over your shoulder.
Oh,
So just know that they love you. They love you both, and they know that you did your very utmost best to go ahead and help them. Um, was the puppy super mischievous too? Because at the very
no. He definitely wasn't. He was probably one of the calmest, and the only time that he would get a little riled up is like when you say, like, my wife used to do a thing where she go, "You want that like this," and it was like that was his cue to he was about to go outside, so he would start spazzing. He was a little black and tan Chihuahua, and he would just start spazzing. But other than that, though, I mean, he was the most calm. He was great with cats. He was just he's just the best dog.
Well, I was just gonna say because the mischievousness does pop out a little bit, but I did feel it was like in the process of an action, in the process of like it was almost like time to go, like racing, trying
Yeah.
to go type energy. So
That's exactly what he would do. Is like when you
yeah.
would get ready, like you say you want to go for a car ride or something like that, he gets so excited and he would run back and forth in the house and stuff like that. So yeah, I can definitely see that.
Yeah, so just know they're absolutely with you. Honestly, if I didn't see them, I would tell you, nope, they're not in your sphere of energy, so they must be doing something else because even our pets, when they go to the other side, they're just like us in some areas, not all areas,
Mm,
but they have the options as to whether they want to be a guardian angel for someone who is present on this side, or whether they want to go on to new and different experiences. And for the two specific pets that you're speaking about, they are there.
that's awesome. That's all. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. My wife will love to hear it too. Well, our hour's almost up, and I want to thank you so much for coming. Why don't you tell everybody how to get a hold of you?
Okay, I'm sure. So you can find me on Facebook as Raven Wolf with an E. Um, Instagram, Salem in the Moonlight. And then if you want to see me in person for a session, whether it's a pet reading or it's tarot or it's mediumship, whatever it may be, or tea leaf reading, you can come, or past life reading, because I do past life regressions and past life work. Contact Pentagram in Salem, or contact Zodiac Tea Room in Beverly. And those are great spaces. I do also offer private sessions through the phone. Um, so you can reach out to me via those options, and I'll be at different paranormal conferences as well. You can also reach out to me at thedesertmedium@gmail.com, and those are the best ways to get a hold of me.
Awesome. Raven, thank you so much for spending time with us, and it's
Thank
it's
you,
been
Raven.
it's been a pleasure having you on, and I really thank you for coming on, and it's been a really good time, and it's been real insightful, and I really appreciate having you on.
Well, thank you so much for the opportunity to come on and be a guest on your show. I deeply appreciate it. And to everyone that said hello to me, hi. Sorry, I was very focused on the conversation, but
Yeah,
I wanted
yeah.
to acknowledge you all.
All right, Raven. Well, we will talk to you soon, and we thank you so much again.
Yes,
Sounds
thank you so
good.
much. See you later. Talk to you later too.
Okay,
All right, all
bye.
right.
That was
Yeah,
great.
guys.
I'm sorry my camera and all is messing up, Shane.
Yeah, that was an awesome one there, because I always try to find out about people right where they are, and just to be very interesting, like the whole thing with the pets and stuff like that. You guys look her up, Raven Wolf. She is a phenomenal person. And
Yeah.
I think you guys will really be blessed, by looking her up. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for being here with us. We'll come back and meet again next week. But until then, y'all stay safe, be blessed always, and stay spooky, people. Peace.